The auditorium pulsed with nervous excitement long before the cameras went live, the kind of heavy, expectant energy that always settles over a room when two political giants are about to share the same stage. Staffers hustled at the edges of the crowd, adjusting microphones and whispering last-minute instructions, while the audience, students, journalists, lifelong voters, pressed forward in their seats, already sensing that this night might deliver more drama than diplomacy. Hillary Clinton, seasoned and sharp, carried herself with the ease of someone who had spent decades in the national spotlight. Robert Kennedy, quieter but equally compelling, sat poised with the calm patience of a man who had grown accustomed to navigating both public admiration and public doubt. The panel discussion started smoothly, touching on policy, leadership, and the direction of the country, until one pointed moment changed everything. As the moderator shifted to a question about personal accountability in politics, Clinton moved first, leaning forward, lifting her chin, and delivering a remark that cut through the room like glass, a pointed reference to Kennedy's troubled past, echoing the early controversies, mistakes, and public misjudgments that had once defined his image. The reaction was immediate, a ripple of laughter from some, discomfort from others, and an unmistakable flare of anticipation from the cameras now zooming in, waiting for Kennedy to defend himself or fire back. Clinton's words hung in the air, heavy and unmistakably strategic. She knew exactly what she was doing. Everyone else did too. But Kennedy didn't take the bait. He didn't stiffen or smirk or rehearse a retort like a typical figure on a debate stage. Instead, he went still, truly still, his expression softening in a way that surprised even those closest to him. When he finally spoke, his voice wasn't sharp or defensive. It was calm, steady, and unexpectedly vulnerable, cutting through the tension like a warm knife through ice. He acknowledged everything she hinted at, the choices he wished he could change, the pressure of carrying a famous last name, the public failures that had shaped the early years of his career. But he spoke of those chapters not with shame, but with a kind of hard-earned peace. He explained how they had forced him to grow, to slow down, to listen more than he spoke, and to understand the importance of humility, lessons he believed every leader must learn if they hoped to serve people with honesty instead of ego. As Kennedy continued, it became clear his response wasn't prepared, it wasn't polished, it wasn't political theater. It was humana, achingly, powerfully humana, and that authenticity began to shift the entire room. The restless audience quieted to such a deep stillness that you could almost hear the soft whir of the cameras recording. Even Clinton, her earlier confidence softening at the edges, seemed caught off guard by the sincerity in his words. Kennedy spoke about the weight of being judged for the worst parts of one's story, the temptation to hide mistakes instead of learning from them, and the strength it takes to stand in front of the world and admit you are still a work in progress. "If my past taught me anything," he said, "it's that humility will outlast pride every time, and if I want grace for myself, I have to extend it to others too." That linear, simple, unpolished, genuinely hit the audience with unexpected force. People exchanged looks. Some nodded subtly. Others blinked back emotion they didn't expect to feel at a political panel. When he finished, the applause didn't erupt immediately. It grew slowly, hesitant at first, then louder, swelling into a full standing ovation that Clinton couldn't help but join. This wasn't applause for a political victory. It was for a moment of raw honesty in a world that had forgotten what that looked like. By the time the event ended, the clip had already begun circulating online. Within hours, it was everywhere, in headlines, on social media feeds, discussed by analysts who couldn't decide whether it was strategic brilliance or a rare moment of true vulnerability. Commentators praised Kennedy's emotional depth. Voters commented that his words made them feel seen. Even critics admitted, reluctantly, that his composure had cut through the usual chaos of political confrontations. Clinton herself, according to backstage reports, reflected quietly afterward, acknowledging that she didn't expect her jab to produce such a disarming response. One advisor described her as thoughtful, noting that even she recognized grace when she saw it. By morning, The story had become bigger than either politician. It wasn't about the insult anymore. It wasn't about the politics. It was about the unexpected power of dignity under fire. Kennedy's calm response resonated with people across generations, as students who feared failure, adults carrying regrets, seniors reflecting on long lives filled with both triumphs and mistakes. His words reminded millions that nobody is defined by their worst chapter and that the courage to grow publicly is far more admirable than pretending to be perfect. And that became the heart of every headline. In a rare moment of national politics, humility stole the spotlight. Kennedy didn't just defend himself that night, he offered something many people had forgotten to look for in public life: authenticity, accountability, and a reminder that grace, when chosen deliberately, can be the most powerful answer of all.